Alright, and we're recording. Okay, in reference to the getting started with Arduino project that I recently posted on the Crystal Plains message board, this is where I'm at right now. As you can see, I've taken the little blinking light program, which originally started with the green one you can see on the left, where it would just turn that one on and off. I've added a red LED to its right, as you can see. Pay no attention to the button that's also on the breadboard. That does absolutely nothing. As we come around to my screen here, it's probably too bright for the camera to really... there it goes, it starts to focus in and out. When you start writing the code for Arduino, you have to... There's two sections to it. There's your setup phase, which is at the very beginning, where you tell it what mode each pin will be in. If it's input or output, if it's sending or receiving. Right now we're only using pins 13 and 12 on the Arduino itself. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer to it. You can see we've got the ground wire connected and pins 12 and 13. It's really out of focus. You can't read the numbers, but they are indeed on the board. Also, as you can see, this is an Arduino Uno, one of the more recent ones, which if you want to get started with this yourself, you will have to install the drivers for it. I made that mistake the first time around, but that's actually super easy after you download the developer kit for Arduino from arduino.cc. Back to the code real quick. Once again, pins 13 and 12 are set to output. After that, and your entire setup phase is in its own set of brackets. Not parentheses, but brackets. The more wavy one, not the squared off ones. You know which ones. Hopefully. If not, leave a comment on the video and I'll try to explain. Next phase up is the loop phase, where you tell it what to do with those pins and when to actually turn them on and off, which is done with a command called digital write. Then it's all one word, but write is capitalized, so it's D-I-G-I-T-A-L capital W-R-I-T-E. And after that, you'll open a set of parentheses, tell it which pin you're turning on or activating, a comma, space, and then either high or low in this particular case. High turns it on. Low turns it off. Now at the end of this, and then you will close the parentheses after you type in high or low and put a semicolon. You can also see towards the end of it here, okay, it's not coming into focus at all. Anyhow, where you see the two forward slashes, which you can kind of make out, those are the comment statements in the code. They don't affect functionality at all, but if you ever want to go back and edit your code, I strongly recommend putting them in there, as will just about any other code monkey on the planet. Now, back to the code itself. After you enter the digital write command, you'll want to put in a delay for the LEDs. That way it knows how long to leave it on. In this particular case, the delay is set to 1,000 milliseconds, or 1 second. And all the timing is in milliseconds, so you will need to plug it in as such, otherwise you'll have an LED that's blinking ridiculously fast. And after you put in the delay, you'll put in digital write again. Same as before, open parentheses, pin number, comma, space, and then high or low. This time you're going to put in low, where before we put in high. This will turn the pin off. And then again, a semicolon, whatever commit statements you want to put at the end of this, and then down to your next line, which is the next delay, which is again 1,000 milliseconds. Exactly the same as the previous line, or the previous delay line of code. Now, originally, it stopped here and then went back and just looped through the program. However, I've gone a little bit, taken it a step further to add digital writes, open parentheses, 12, comma, space, high, close parentheses, semicolon, which will, after turning off the first LED, proceed to turn on the second LED, and they will blink back and forth. And then you essentially do the same thing for it as what you did for pin 13, except you're labeling it as pin 12. Now, when I decided to go ahead and try to modify this program a little bit to put that in, I forgot something very important in the setup phase of the code, back to the beginning. You got to remember, you need to tell the Arduino board what it's doing with this pin. Once again, if it's input or output. Initially, I didn't tell it what it was doing with pin 12, so when it said pin 12 high, it had no idea what it was doing, so it just ignored that part of the code. Now, back to the physical board. Now that I've explained how the code works, we've got the green wire itself going to the cathode of the LED, if I remember right. I might be getting those backwards. And the ground wire going to the anode. The ground wire is actually connected to both LEDs. Using the breadboard, plugged it into the first one and then just routed it over to the second one immediately thereafter. And as you can see, the blue wire is connected to the red LED, much the same as it is the green one. And they will do, they'll just blink back and forth like this for all time, or until I unplug the board. Really, really simple little program to run. It's extremely easy to set up one of these Arduinos. I guess that kind of sums this up. If you have any, I know I kind of jumped around a lot, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.